Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is November 6th, and right now we are looking at the Sacramento Doppler radar. There's the Bay Area. You can see these bands of heavier showers moving through as we go through this morning. We're going to continue with some shower activity as we go through the afternoon. We got some cold air aloft, going to be helping to spawn those showers and potentially a thunderstorm or two here across the region, mainly Bay Area north and off through the Sierra Nevada. Also expecting some snowfall for the higher terrain, probably snowing already at some places above 7,000 feet. We'll take a look at those details. And as always, we'll look at the extended forecast as well. Some interesting stuff starting to show up as we go on in through the week plus period, but we'll look at that in a moment. You can see the infrared satellite imagery with the storm system off the Washington, Oregon coast. Some very cold air aloft continuing to move in over the region here, and that will spawn, again, some additional thunderstorms as we go through the day today. Now, the channel's doing pretty good. You see we're up over 5,000 subscribers here. So thanks to everybody who subscribed and has joined and become a member so far. None of this is possible without you guys, so much appreciated on that front. Taking a look at the day one thunderstorm risk, you can see just right there about Sacramento northward here. I wouldn't be surprised to maybe get a thunderstorm down towards the Bay Area, even just north of it, actually, along the coastal areas as we go. And right now they don't have any thunderstorm activity for tomorrow, but that could change. We could destabilize a little bit more and maybe kick off a thunderstorm then as well. Nothing too crazy right now, but it's pretty raw across a lot of the higher terrain. Some gusty winds and some snow falling as well. And again, you could run into some heavier showers as we go through the day today. Take a look at this day in SoCal weather history. You've got funnel clouds back in 1960. You've got Santa Ana winds. You've got hot temperatures. You got thunderstorm activity. It's all possible at this time of year. So interesting stuff. And we have some interesting weather potentially coming up. Some of the models have been showing an interesting mid portion of November here for a lot of California, and I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. If you've been watching the last few days, also you've been seeing some of those fantasy systems out there in the future. We'll look at that here in a moment. Now, taking a look at the additional rain through Monday, you can see mainly, again, Bay Area down towards Monterey, Salinas, maybe a few hundredths of an inch higher across the Sierra Nevada as always, and lesser amounts across some of the valley areas, some of the coastal range as well. Now, taking a look at Tuesday and Wednesday, look at some of these temperatures dropping off, only getting into the mid-60s here for some of the valley areas, and of course, much chillier across the Sierra Nevada, where you could be dealing with snow at the higher elevations. The winter weather advisory is ongoing, again, mainly above 7,000 feet, snow showers Monday afternoon and evening, and this should be wrapping up as you go on in through the afternoon on Tuesday. Allow some extra time to reach your destination. Here we go with the winter weather advisory a little further south. Here you can see the Yosemite is there, and you can see the different snowfall amounts. Generally 6 to 12 above 10,000 feet. So if you're way off into the higher terrain there, you might get some interesting snowfall totals. Or heads up for that. And above 8,000 feet, generally 2 to 4 inches expected, and 4 to 6 above 9,000 feet. So keep that in the back of your mind. If you want a nice affordable home weather station, this is a good one, a nice option here versus spending much more on a much more expensive weather station. And if you want to save 10% off, make sure to click on that link below. Highly recommend this one. All solar powered, all wireless, great smartphone app. It's always more fun to watch weather roll in when you've got a weather station on your place of residence. So taking a look at the European, this is last night's run, lightning flash density. You can kind of see that potential exists as we go through. Now I'm showing you the afternoon hours here, as you can see. And then we kind of bring another bump here on the European as we go through tomorrow afternoon, maybe stabilizing one more time here during the afternoon hours again as the system continues to push off to the east. And then that would be it for that round before the next systems potentially roll in, but still a little ways out there. Looking at 925 millibars, about 2,500 feet off the surface, and you can see the stronger winds here rolling across some of the area. The Sierra Nevada here getting some gusty winds to go through the day today. But what I want to show you here is we go through the day Tuesday and Wednesday. You can see this north flow starting. We start to push some offshore winds across the state, and again could be kicking off the Santa Ana wind event across Southern California and across the desert areas. Some strong north winds as well. It doesn't look as strong as last round here, but it is definitely notable as we build that high pressure in the wake of this system going over us right now across the Great Basin. Now, taking a look at total precipitation in inches first. You can see this European as of last night, some pretty good amounts across the higher terrain, the coastal range here as well. And if you're lucky, you could pick up a 1/10 of an inch or two, mainly, again, Bay Area north. But it does show some precip getting all the way down across some of the valley areas as the system swings down across the region through Tuesday evening. Now taking a look at what's going on. Here's that storm system off the Oregon coastline, that low pressure system there. And you can see as it's moving across the region today and finally pulls off tomorrow, we get this high pressure replacing it. And that's what's going to kick those offshore winds. You can imagine this big dome of air sinking, pushing out, fanning out through the gaps in the terrain across Southern California and through the desert areas. And that's what's known as those offshore winds or the Santa Ana winds here. So yeah, probably again, not as quite as strong as an event as last time. As you can see, not quite as a dynamic of a pressure gradient here. And that's what means everything's when you're based on wind speeds, you need that pressure gradient to really kick off the strongest winds. Now looking at the NAM3KM, this is total snow. This is hot off the presses. And you can see again, mainly across some of the higher terrain, 8,000 feet plus here. Some interesting totals, probably, above 10,000 feet. You could be looking at some big amounts, over half a foot, maybe up towards a foot, as you saw in the graphic earlier. Now looking at the GFS, it's been teasing us for a while here, and it continues to do so. And I'll show you what I mean. Here goes our system moving through the area on through tomorrow night. Then we replace it with the ridge and start to bring those offshore winds across the area. Another system moves through the Pacific Northwest, and we keep this ridging going for a bit, but then this trough here keeps showing it wants to dive over California, and this would bring quite a dynamic system here to much of the state. But you're looking at a week plus out, 7, 8, 9 days off into the future. So just something for us to watch for now. But it does show the storm track starting to include California as we go through the mid portion of November coming up. Now looking at the European, this is the similar look at things here. You can see the Hawaiian Islands, there's Washington, California, and this is at 18,000 feet, general ridge and trough position. There goes our system swinging through on into Tuesday night. And then we bring this ridging here through a little bit of the extended period off in towards the end of next weekend. And you can see the European quicker with the next trough here. And then it digs another powerful trough all the way down across the state of California. So it's definitely exciting looking off into the future here, but it is still a little ways out in the forecast. However, you can see this trough developing at about 150 hours. So it's something we got to watch here over the next few days. It's still kind of a fantasy right now, but it's becoming a little bit more and more likely here as we go through the mid portion of November. Now, what would that mean? So this is the European, this is current, and you can see some of the precipitation moving across, some places getting some locally heavy amounts. And now we're into Tuesday morning. You can see that precip starting to wind down here by the time we get towards Tuesday night, and then that system is just a distant memory. Build some high pressure here, and we're kicking some offshore winds. Weak system moves through Northern California, but then you see that big troughing get going here across the Gulf of Alaska and really start to drive down a powerful frontal system through Southern California all the way in through the extended period. But that would be a pretty dynamic frontal system there, a powerful storm. So anyway, something to watch on and through the extended. Don't get too caught up in the details just yet. Just keep it in the back of your mind. Looking at the National Blended Models, you can see the temperatures expected today, obviously cooler where you're getting that precipitation across the higher terrain. And you can see the valley is going to be cooling off a lot by we get towards tomorrow. Some mid-60s out there. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and maybe by Sunday bringing some 70s back to the valley. But you can also see the desert areas cool down quite nicely here as well in Southern California. But let's bounce this back a little bit here, and you can kind of see as we go through Wednesday, not a super warm Santa Ana event here. As you can see, Wednesday, Thursday, just maybe some upper 70s here. So it will be warmer than some areas inland, of course, where the high pressure is located, and it's blowing these offshore winds as we go through Thursday, but nothing too crazy. You're not looking at any major heat wave or anything of that nature. Now, looking at the 2-meter temperature anomaly on the European, this is last night's run. So you can kind of see some below average temperatures starting to creep into California now with this system rolling through. But you can see a lot of the Southwest here and some of the Rocky Mountains and New Mexico and Colorado above average conditions. But look how that starts to change here as we roll through the week. And you can see some below average conditions kind of taken over here as that trough moves through the area. But for example, if we look on in through this portion, you can kind of see the Santa Ana winds keeping things above average for some portions of Southern California. So kind of a mixed bag there for some areas. Taking a look at the 8 to 14 day temperature probability outlook, kind of equal chances here across California. You get further east and your chances get a little bit better for being above average. Here's 8 to 14 day. And again, the Climate Prediction Center continues to show the potential for those systems here, as you can see all the way through November 19th from the 13th there with that above average signal here for California. So we're just kind of biding our time and trying to see if we can get some model agreement on the timing of some of those systems off into our future forecast. I wanted to show this as well, the 7-day significant fire potential here. You can see we still can burn things at this time of year. So just a heads up, including some of Southern California out towards the coastal areas. It's still low risk at this point, but you can see it's a little bit higher than the rest of the state here with some of those offshore winds. You can still get some local fire, elevated conditions out there with that. But anyway, yeah, so we keep doing that for the extended forecast. It seems like it takes forever to get here, and it's still ways out in our forecast, but we'll continue to watch those storm systems in the GFS and the European and try to see and get some timing and get some model agreement as we go. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Make sure to click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.